Hey everyone, Tim Stoddart here. Thank you so much for watching this workshop. This workshop is the 10 lessons that have made Charles and I $10 million. Once again, I'm Tim Stoddart. I'm the CEO of Copyblogger. This is Charles Miller. He is the president and the CGO of Copyblogger. And let's get started. So, Charles, why don't you jump into this thing? What's your first lesson?
Yeah, so I've been consulting with a lot of people in Copyblogger Academy. I've been working with people in our personal brand accelerator. And whenever they have content that's not working and not getting engagement, the problem is that they're not creating emotion or delivering value with it. So every piece of content has to do one of those two things. On search engines, it's generally better to be valuable. That's basically the only way to get found on search engines. On social media, it's valuable or emotional, but no matter what, you have to give people a payoff with the piece of content. If they're bored by it, if it's just all personal and nothing in it for them, they're not going to engage. They're not going to stay on a page very long if they find it on a search engine. So when you're thinking of an idea for a piece of content, make sure it's either emotional, valuable, or both. And then after you get done creating it, go through it, edit it, and make sure it is as emotion creating or valuable as possible. If it's not, continue to improve it until it is.
Amazing. And we can definitely see that in your writing, and we can see the results that the students inside the Copyblogger Academy get once they add those tactics to their writing as well. So, you and I are both writers. We come from a little bit of a different skill set. I've built a lot of my brands through long form writing, which loosely translates to SEO, to writing blog posts, and to generating inbound search traffic to websites. And in that domain, my first lesson is to be as specific as possible. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when they first start a website, they start a blog, and they want to generate some inbound search traffic is they start writing about all different types of topics. I like to call this like the BuzzFeed effect or the Huffington Post effect, but it's almost impossible to create a media site that writes long form content that can be picked up for search traffic in like a wide range of topics. What you want to do is find a really, really small topic and write only about that topic. So we'll learn about this as we go through this video. But my first real success with SEO was my agency, and my agency works in a very, very specific industry. And so the only content that I have on my site is marketing techniques and skills and lessons that I've learned to help people generate leads and clients for this particular industry. I don't veer off into anything else. And this is great because all of the traffic that you get when your content is very specific is intent driven, meaning the people that come to your website are interested customers, are interested buyers. And you know that simply because they searched for exactly what it is that you're offering. And you can control that by the type of content that you put on the site. So to summarize, more traffic is not better with SEO. The right traffic is better because the right traffic is what's going to generate customers, sales, clients, and conversions.
Yeah, that is for sure true. So, my second lesson is to inject yourself or your brand into almost all of your content. Thing I've noticed consulting with people in our various coaching offers is people will just say, okay, I'm going to try to get as many likes as possible. Let me do a how to guide. Let me do some random infographic. Let me do some random emotional quote. And they end up getting a ton of likes. And then they say, okay, well, I got all these likes. I got all these clicks. Nobody bought my thing. And one of the reasons why is that people aren't injecting themselves into their content. So you can do something wide appeal, like a widely emotionally resonant concept, but start with that and then relate it to a personal story. Now you're building your brand, you're getting more clicks, you are generating interest in you rather than just the concept. If you want to do some kind of infographic or how to guide or listicle, that's great, but put a little bit of your experience in it. So it's not just here's the list item, here's how you can use it. It's here's the list item, here's how I use it, here's how you can use it. And when you put yourself in everything you do, or your brand, if it's an impersonal brand, um, you are creating uniqueness and you are differentiating from other people in the market. And because of that, you're going to end up selling a ton more than if your content was all completely generic.
Love that. That makes a lot of sense. My second tip is the what generates the interest, but the how generates the sale. So I know that sounds a bit esoteric, but it is a really good mental framework when it comes to writing content because you're leaving a little bit extra that is going to create that step that your prospect, that your reader is going to want to take in order to buy from you. So let's give an example. Um, let's say that you're writing about bridges. I know this is like a strange example, but you have a website about bridges. Well, in an article, you could say the what is to build a bridge from one side to the other, but the how is your product. The how is like a consulting firm that'll help people build bridges. The how is that course or that info product that teaches people how to build bridges. So in your marketing, in the content that you create, you want to tell people what they have to do. And you can get really specific. It doesn't have to be so vague. Like you can give real value. You have to give real value. You can give the step-by-step order in what to do and the order in what to do it. However, the expertise, the thing that you're really getting paid to do, the reason why people are going to hire you or going to buy your products is because they need to know exactly how to do it. And there's a big distinction between the two. So if you tell everybody how to do a thing in your content, then you're more or less just giving your product away for free. And I don't know about you, but the reason why I spend so many hours writing content and doing research on specific keywords is because I want to generate clients. Like I want to make the sale, I want to generate revenue for my business. And so it's really, really important to separate those two. Your content, your marketing is the what, and your service and your product is the how. And if you can put those two things together and have them work harmoniously, you'll generate a lot of interest and you'll generate a lot of sales. And that's ultimately what you want.
Yeah, for sure. My third one is it sounds exactly the same. It's slightly different, similar idea. So what I often tell people is because they'll ask me, okay, can you review my LinkedIn profile? I go on there and I see them promising benefits. And they've probably read the marketing platitude a million times. You need to do benefits over features. But when everyone in your market is offering the same benefits or promising the same benefits, what actually closes the sale is the engine that you use to deliver those benefits. So less emphasis on the outcomes that you're going to deliver, more emphasis on why is my engine uniquely good and why is my engine trustworthy. You do that with case studies and testimonials and things like that. So you want to shift your mindset away from let me, agitate pain points and sell this outcome to somebody. There's a 90% chance they already know they want that outcome. So it's better for you to build trust in your engine rather than just having outcome based marketing and copywriting.
Love that. I never heard of it. I never heard it put that way, but now that you mention it, I completely agree. That makes a whole lot more sense than just constantly pitching benefits. Okay, number three for me, one page, one keyword. This is something that creates a lot of discipline. And what happens when people create blog posts or they start building a little bit of a following, even if it's on a personal brand, is they start writing about whatever it is they feel like writing about. And look, if you're a creative writer, there's a time and a place for that. I would never tell somebody not to express themselves creatively. But if the purpose of your writing is to generate leads and to generate revenue, you can't veer off track. You have to be very methodical and very specific. So, what does that mean? One page, one keyword. It means every time you write a page, there's a very, very specific keyword that that page is trying to rank for. And you only stay on topic about that keyword. You can't veer off in the page itself, and you can't veer off in the overarching information that the website as a whole is providing. So SEO is really a game of like specificity and a game of details. So what does this mean in like a practical sense? Well, it means do your research. I recommend people just get a spreadsheet and write down 20 questions that somebody might type into Google if they were looking for your product or your service. And then every one of those questions is the first keyword. And so that means every page that you write, you're not combining a bunch of those questions into one blog post and saying, like, the five most important questions that you need to ask if you want to solve for X, Y, and Z, right? Each page is a question. Each page is the most um, detailed and solution oriented piece of content that exists to answer that question on the internet. And now all of a sudden, you have 20 different search queries that are highly specified to the interaction of the user trying to solve their problem and the solution that you're providing, which again is your service or your product. So one page, one keyword. Stay disciplined. It sounds easy at first. It gets hard when you have like hundreds and hundreds of pages of content that are all highly, highly keyword specific. But once again, if your goal of your SEO and your content marketing is to generate interest in your business, you really, really have to stay on topic. So be methodical, be disciplined, one page, one keyword.
Yeah, specificity is so huge. One of the quotes I love is "Go deep, not wide." It applies to who you're targeting. It applies to what you're offering. It applies to your marketing. So that's a wide ranging lesson there. My fourth is trust is the best persuader and nothing else comes close. So, what you want to be doing in all your marketing is thinking, okay, how can I build trust in me and my offer in everything you do? So, like that's in content to kind of a lesser extent, but you're still going to be talking about like case studies, personal experiences, various trust builders. And then when you're creating sales content, copywriting sales pages, doing sales calls, you want to be thinking about trust the entire time. How can I make this person trust me to give them what I'm promising I'm going to give them? And for because I'm kind of the social media guy in this partnership, I basically do this every day on social media. I'm thinking, okay, here's the broader concept. Here's what's going to be valuable to people or be emotional to people. But how can I add something that's going to make people trust me more? If it's a personal story or a quick one sentence client case study, whatever it might be, I'm trying to make people trust my ability to deliver that outcome. And once you have enough trust, you basically have a money printer. If you have an audience and trust, you can sell them essentially anything. And that is your main engine towards profits is people believing that you can give them what they want.
I love that. Trust over everything. That's a great one. Okay, number four for me. SEO is not about writing and publishing, it's about tweaking. Again, one of the major mistakes people make is they have a keyword, they've followed best practices, they've optimized whatever page, they've assigned the one keyword to the one page that they're publishing, and then they publish it, and then they move on to the next. And it's really easy to fall into this trap just because I think we're looking for short victories, right? We like to feel like we're constantly accomplishing something, but really, the success in the success in the search traffic to your website is not a churn and burn type system. Every page that you write, you then want to keep an eye on that page. You want to track its rankings. You want to see if other competitors are starting to beat you. If they are beating you, why are they beating you? What did they do differently where all of a sudden Google decided to put their article, their page, their blog post ahead of yours when last week your page was ahead of theirs, right? It is not the analogy I always like to use is websites are kind of like trimming hedges. You can trim the hedges on your front lawn and all of a sudden it looks really good and you got nice clean lines, but with enough time it turns into a mess. And so it's not a kind of thing where you just trim the hedges once and then it stays perfect forever. You constantly have to tweak, you constantly have to optimize. So the first article that you ever wrote on your website, the one that's like 40 pages back in your WordPress archive or whatever site builder that you're using, go back to that page. Where's that page ranking? Can you fix it? Can you make that go better? It's a lot easier to make what you already have as best as it can possibly be than it is to continuously find new ideas and new topics. A lot of times you can build a really successful business by ranking for 20 keywords, right? If you go to Stodzy, we've built a multi-million dollar company basically off of like 10 keywords that we continue to dominate for, and we have dominated for 10 years. And I'm not always looking for new opportunities. I'm not always looking for new keywords. I'm just keeping the ones that I have, and the way that you do that is through constant measurement and analysis and tweaking, because SEO is kind of a dynamic game. Things are changing all the time and you got to keep up with it. But if you just publish new content and then move on to the next, you're going to be on that hamster wheel. You're going to be running on the treadmill and not getting anywhere.
Yeah, that is for sure true. One thing I've been doing lately, also, I'll go on Search Console and I'll see what my top blog posts are, what my top hits are, and I'll say, okay, if I haven't updated this post in the last couple months, I'm going to update this. Or if I see one, it's like, oh, that's a new one that's starting to get a little bit of attention. Let me make that more valuable. Let me optimize that in various ways. So one of the best things you can do in SEO, though I'm not a complete expert on that, um, is investing in your winners and making them even larger winners.
Totally.
So my last lesson is action is data and data is what makes you win. So we talked to a lot of beginners at Copyblogger. Tim and I were both at one point beginners reading Copyblogger. Tim like 15 years ago and me like 7 years ago. And one of the worst things you can do is get overwhelmed with all the different options and, oh, I don't know what to do. And should I start a newsletter? Should I do a blog? Should I do social? Whatever. You will not have any clarity until you start taking action. And then once you do take action, you'll have data. And that is the key to iteration. And iteration is the key to success. So you can sit around thinking all day about what you should write a blog post about, or you can publish 8 weeks in a row and maybe get a little bit of data and see what's working. And now you have something that you can improve on. You can think about social media all day, or you can post for a month straight and say, ooh, these two posts about these two topics seem to resonate with people. Let me try to remix those ideas in a slightly different way. And then you start growing because of that. So if you are feeling lost, the answer is take imperfect action, get some data, try to understand that data, and then create a flywheel where you are taking action, getting data, using it to take more action. And when you do that for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, that's when the magic starts. It's not from having the perfect plan. It's from taking imperfect action and then getting near perfect results eventually.
What a great phrase, imperfect action. I never heard it put that way, but I agree. We see people being stuck in that a lot inside the academy, where they think, I'm not going to do this right. This isn't right. I'm not doing this the way it's supposed to be done. And that's completely irrelevant. You do it and then you analyze and then you iterate. Imperfect action. I love that. Okay, my last one. This one is a really important lesson, even though it's a little bit adjacent to SEO as a skill. And the lesson is that the search traffic generates the leads, but you generate the sales. I have seen a lot of people become deflated when they work on long form content and when they start generating search traffic to their website, because they say, okay, I have all of this traffic, but nothing is happening. And in order to understand why this happens, you have to understand that there's not a whole lot of relationship building in SEO. If you're looking to solve a problem that you have and you get to a website and you read the article, it's really not uncommon for people to get the answer that they're looking for and then leave. It's very, very rare that somebody comes to a website and then just instantly buys whatever it is that you're selling. That hardly ever happens. And so the content, the search traffic is the lead. That's that initial awareness. But you and like your personality and your company culture, if you're SEOing like a business site, or even if you're SEOing like your personal site, whatever it is, that's what actually converts the traffic into the sale. So in many cases, this means having an email sign up form, getting them a little bit interested, and then creating an automation, doing a weekly newsletter, continuing to generate value up until you've built the trust, like you just talked about, Charles, to the point where it actually converts into a sale. I mean, we'll have customers for the academy that may have been on the email list for a year and a half before they actually decided to buy. That's okay. That's totally normal. If it doesn't happen right away, don't get discouraged. Another example would be, especially for people doing service businesses, is that the search traffic generates the lead, and then you can give away like a free audit, or you can even just make yourself available for a phone call. And then, okay, like you answer the phone, you build a relationship with this person, and then maybe you'll get like a one call close. It's unlikely. It might take two or three different phone calls, but that's how you'll convert it into a sale. So it's important to understand that the traffic that you generate isn't going to turn into the money printer quite the same way that a social media reputation will, because on social media people really feel like they know you, right? On SEO you're just extending your hand for the initial handshake, and you still have to use good copywriting, email automations, and talking on the phone, building relationships with people to turn that traffic into revenue. And a lot of people want to skip that part, but you can't. You have to build a relationship with your prospect. And when you do, that's when you build the trust, and then all of a sudden that's when you start getting referrals, and people just start bringing business to you because you've done a good job in the past. So don't expect it to all happen at once. Continue to invest in that relationship.
Yep, makes total sense.
Okay, these are the 10 lessons that got us to $10 million. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, you could always reach out to Charles and I, and we'll see you next time. Charles, is there anything that you want to say before we go?
Join Copyblogger Academy and stay on the newsletter. I promise we are not just like selling all the time on that thing. We really do give seriously good advice, good insights, good strategies on there. So stay on the newsletter for at least a couple months if you're new. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody, for giving this a shot.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.